Hi, everyone. My name is Ken Almanza, and I'm an outreach specialist for Reach Out. First off, I hope everyone is doing well and doing their best to stay safe during this challenging time with COVID-19. And I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. So today's information is designed for youth and adolescents and those who provide services to this group. So now more than ever is an extremely important time to discuss substance use. With many people facing hardships and just changes to daily life, many people might turn to substances like drugs and alcohol, to help them cope during this time with anxiety and stress. So that's why it's important we talk about these issues and provide the proper education and resources, not only for ourselves, but the family and friends that are around us. So this presentation is made possible today through grant funds from the California Department of Healthcare Services MAT Expansion Project. Now that was a mouthful. So for those who are not familiar with us, Reach Out is a nonprofit organization. And since 1969, we've been providing programs for youth, families, and communities. Our main office is in Upland, and we have two other offices in Jurupa Valley and Yucca Valley. Our main office line and website are at the bottom of each of the slides. So if you want to reach out to us, contact us to ask questions, find resources, volunteer, or even donate to our cause, our team is standing by working from home 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we are ready to speak with you. All right, so during our time together, we're going to cover the 6 points listed here. We're first going to go over aspects of the brain. We're going to dive into substance use disorder and substance uses among youth. Then we're going to talk about opioids, which is the main topic of discussion here, and treatment for opioid use disorder, which is called MAT, medication assisted treatment. And then we're going to wrap up with talking about resources and how to help your community. All right, so let's see a show of hands out there. I know I can't see you, but who in this virtual classroom actually engages in these activities shown here? So from playing on your smartphone, on Instagram, to doing the latest challenge on TikTok, eating fast food, playing video games, perfecting that selfie. So what do all these things have in common? These are all behaviors that send signals to your brain that usually produce a good, pleasurable feeling. So this good feeling should be okay for you, right? So let's look at the human brain. Humans have a thing in the brain called the reward center or limbic system. So every time we do something, we produce a chemical in the brain called dopamine. When your Instagram notification goes off, your brain lights up with excitement. When you take a bite of your favorite food, boom, dopamine rush. This chemical tells the brain this feels good, this is like a reward. In the same way, let's say, like a puppy gets a dog treat. Now, balanced dopamine levels are an important aspect to human lives because it gives us motivation to do things, as simple as getting up in the morning. So all the things that I shown you on the previous slide, that produces dopamine at different levels. And the human brain works in a normal range. It's between 40 and 100 nanograms per deciliter. So this isn't science class. I'm not going to go too technical. It's just a measurement. But think of the numbers. I want you to remember 40 and 100. So that's our range. So if you're closer to 40, that's when you can't really move. Your body functions are kind of shut down and you can't find a reason to do anything. It feels maybe like a sick day. When your brain's closer to the higher end, that's probably like a great day. Your self-esteem is good. Maybe you just got an A on the test. Your brain is flooded with dopamine. However, when you give your body too much dopamine from using substances, this can overload a part of the brain and then really throw your natural balance out of sync. So what do I mean by substances? So I have some of them listed on the slide. So things like marijuana and alcohol, they can push your dopamine levels in the high hundreds. And substances like heroin or methamphetamine, they can produce enormous levels of dopamine, reaching as high as 1,100 nanograms. And remember, the human brain usually only functions between 40 and 100. So our brains weren't meant to function properly under these extremely high levels. And what makes this dangerous is that these substances, they only produce this short high, for a short amount of time, and it fades away. and it makes a person want to crave that experience again and again. So repeated behavior of substances can lead to a medical condition called substance use disorder. So what does substance use disorder look like? So let's look at the image here. These are major signs that define substance use disorder. So maybe you are using the substances and you can't stop. You want to, but you just can't seem to do it. Or maybe you're taking more than you intended. Maybe you started with one pill and now you're on 3 a day. You might be neglecting parts of your life. You may be neglecting schoolwork or sports practice or going to work on time. You may have strained relationships. You may damage relationships with your parents and your friends, or you may keep using a substance even when you know it's bad for you. So our society tends to not really understand what this means. Substance use disorder is a disease of the brain, and it's an official medical condition. And we tend to really label people as bad or say things like, you did it to yourself, when in reality, a person that is suffering this cannot control their behaviors on their own because that substance has chemically changed their brain. So think of something simple like diabetes or high blood pressure. These two are medical conditions that require treatment to maintain and lead a normal life. And those people cannot control their disease on their own. We don't label them as bad or blame them for having it. So substance use disorder should be treated in that same way. This will help us as a community be less judgmental and kinder to those experiencing this. I really believe that no one wakes up and says, I want to suffer from this. Everyone's coming from a different upbringing and family situation that really led them down this road. So what are substances that your peers are using and students like yourself? So through a California research study, they studied high school students who had tried substances as they moved from 7th grade to 11th grade. So let's follow the bars here. We see in 7th grade, we have a small amount of students who have used alcohol and marijuana. So by the time 9th grade rolled around, we see an increase and we see new substances that are being used. So now we have, not only do we have alcohol, we have cold medicine and cocaine and prescription pain medications. So by the time these students reached 11th grade, we see it's crazy how we see such an increase here. Half of the students have tried alcohol. We have 43% cough medicine, almost 40% marijuana, and some of the most startling numbers is we see prescription pain medications at 21.8%. Now remember, everyone's coming from a different situation that leads them to try these things. It could be curiosity, peer pressure, the need to fit in, or maybe there's just stress and trauma in their household. Maybe someone is using substances in their home. So if you really want to explore this topic a bit more, I encourage you to visit the link at the bottom of this slide, and you can really dive in and learn more about this among youth. So that brings us to the focus of today's presentation, which is opioids. So we see on the previous slide, there was a 21.8% use of opioids among those teens by 11th grade. So you may have heard of this drug, but let's go over a little bit more about what it is. So opioids are also known as painkillers, and they can be a prescription medication. They're really prescribed after a major surgery to block pain. But I don't want you to confuse these with over-the-counter pain relievers like aspirin or ibuprofen or acetaminophen. Opiates are different. They are some of the strongest pain blockers, and they're intended for short-term use under the care of a medical provider. These are highly addictive substances, and misuse can lead to physical dependence, which I'll go over in a few minutes. One of the most troubling trend for teens is mixing these opioids with other substances like alcohol, which can lead to overdose and death. So on your own time, I would really research, I would Google teens and opioid overdose, and you will see just so many news articles of teens who have died from just doing this once, from mixing these substances. And the issue is so urgent that these parents of teens who have died, they've turned the matters in their own hands, and they've used their pain and loss to create their own education programs and their own community organizations to prevent teens from using and misusing these drugs. So like I mentioned, you can be prescribed these opioids from a medical professional. However, you can also get them through an illegal source. However, it's important, this is the most important part. How people get these drugs and develop addiction is exactly the same no matter how you get them or which type you actually take. Some of the most illegal substances are heroin and fentanyl, and some common legal prescription opioids are Oxycontin, Percocet, and codeine. Again, no matter which one, people have been shown to become addicted in just a matter of days. So let's kind of go over why that happens. Think of opioids as an exciting roller coaster. It creates this incredible rush, producing extremely high levels of dopamine. And a person can love this so much that they just want to keep going. They just want to keep riding the roller coaster. However, if opioids are used for long periods of time, you begin to feel sick, nausea, vomiting, tiredness. Your bones begin to feel weak. Your mood changes. And then you become physically dependent. That basically means when you crave it so much, you need to take it, and you need to take even more of the drug just to feel normal and function throughout the day. Remember those things we showed you that used to make you happy? Playing on your phone, video games, exercising, no, it no longer makes you feel good. And why is this? Because they're not producing the same levels of dopamine as the opioid. So the end result is opioid use disorder, which is just a form of substance use disorder, and it produces all those effects that we reviewed earlier. So at this stage, permanent damage has occurred in the brain that's responsible for your motivation, your organizing, your bonding, and your rewards. So opioid use disorder is a chronic condition. There is no cure. However, you can manage your symptoms and reduce your cravings with medical treatment. So one of the most effective medical treatments is MAT, which stands for medication-assisted treatment. It combines medication and therapy to treat the entire person. So 3 possible medications that can be used to do this are methadone, naltrexone, and buprenorphine. These drugs will help normalize the brain again and the body functions, and it blocks that high. And it also has been shown to clinically reduce those cravings and help people, just really stop the desire to use them and help maintain sobriety with opioids. So fortunately, in the state of California, we have lots of resources and are able to educate through our program website, which is choosemat.org. If you visit this website, you can learn much more about opioids, opioid use disorder. There is also a treatment locator where you enter your zip code to find and connect with medical providers who can provide you MAT during this time. And you can even produce or access this information under the current conditions. They have changed the rules, and you can safely receive MAT treatment from home, through telehealth, through medicine. It is still available. So I would encourage you to visit choosemat.org. And for those who maybe need referrals for other substance use disorders, you can also call the bilingual helpline here at 1-800-662-4357. So I've given you all this information. What more can you do? So Reach Out is also connected with things called medication drop-off boxes across San Bernardino and Riverside County. These are safe places to get rid of your opioids and other prescription medications lying around the home. Getting rid of them can prevent others from taking them to get high, especially youth and adolescents. And you could visit any of the locations listed here. I would also call the phone number to receive more information of hours of operations, as they may be changed during this time due to COVID-19. Some other simple ways to help is continue educating yourself. If this is really kind of sparking an interest in you, I encourage you to go online and learn more about it and teach others in your network in person and also on social media. We learn so much on social media that you could share this information online. And you can also find youth initiatives in your area through your school, your high school, your churches, community organizations to really get the word out and spread this information peer-to-peer. So thank you so much for those who watched today. I hope this information is useful and shared for those who need it most. To let me know how I did today and to give us feedback, please click the survey link. You'll find that in the description box, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. And we also want to remind you that we are still providing support to families across San Bernardino and Riverside County. So if you or a family or friend is looking to donate during this time, you can visit the link that's here. And these donations, they greatly help us continue our work. Lastly, please follow our social media channels to stay up to date with all the happenings in our agency. All of those links for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, they're in the description box as well. So again, thank you for watching. Stay safe, everyone, and we will see you again soon. Thank you.